Hello, hello, thanks for stopping by. This is Turok Evolution for the PlayStation 2, released by Acclaim in 2002, for the PS2, the Xbox, and the GameCube. It came out on PC eventually. It was based on a comic book franchise that I haven't read yet, but I'll probably come across an issue eventually. We have a first-person shooter with dinosaurs, which sounds good to me. I know it's a well-loved franchise, but before this game I can't say I've really played these before. It has 15 chapters, with a total of 62 levels, and one really annoying thing. It starts the game with inverted controls, and you have to reset it every time. I hate that. It doesn't save it with your game file either. Always have to go in and change it. In terms of story, I'm not going to go too deep into it, but basically you're a guy named Talset, you're Native American, and you get sucked through a wormhole and into a world where dinosaurs and these dinosaur men exist. The dinosaur men are called the Slag. These are your primary enemy. You meet this wizard guy right away, and he basically wants you to accept the mantle of Turok, some sort of a protector. You don't want to, but basically you're fighting your way through the game and you're becoming Turok. The game was released in the early days of the internet, or the earlier days of the internet, I suppose. This one offers multiplayer split screen, but on the PS2 it's only up to 2 players. I think it's 4 players for the Xbox and GameCube. There was also a planned sequel to this game that was cancelled, and eventually they rebooted the entire franchise. There were a total of 6 games so far. I think overall the game feels relatively standard for first-person shooters of this era. I've played worse, and I've certainly played better. I think this one certainly has some things going for it. The dinosaur concept is pretty great. The dinosaur men, the Slag, they work as villains. I also killed a Tyrannosaurus Rex with a couple of grenades. I ask anybody playing this game to try doing this and tell me that it's not at least a little bit fun. I enjoyed it a lot. There are also levels you get to play where you get to fly around in a pterodactyl, which was actually pretty unexpected. It's like having 2 distinctly different games kind of mashed into one. For a first-person shooter game like this, for me anyway, these games always come down to how they handle. Honestly, I look for handling above a story, and in this game I think it leaves a little something to be desired. I know I'm a little spoiled because of the quality of modern first-person shooters, of course, but back then, this game came out in 2002, the standard for controls had already been set. Halo came out the year before, and the game handled fantastic. After Halo was released, everything needed to follow suit, and this one just doesn't quite handle the same. The control scheme is just hard to flip between weapons, and you don't have an instant melee attack. You can't be shooting a gun and then just cuff somebody in the face. To get somebody with a melee attack, you have to switch your weapon to your stone axe and use that, and I just think it takes too long to switch. This game has a problem with changing weapons. It's a burden. Also, I think the enemy, they're expert marksmen from like a quarter of a mile away, and you're not. But you do get a decent selection of weapons to choose from. You get a pistol, an axe, a shotgun, 2 different types of bows, and a rocket launcher, and that's by level 3. I'm not sure why the game let me have 2 bows at one time. I only paid $1 for this game, and it didn't come with a manual, so if anybody knows what the reason is that you might want to have 2 different bows at one time, please let me know. By the 3rd chapter, I thought I found all the weapons in this game, and then I found a 4-barrel shotgun, then I found a flechette gun, a flamethrower, a mine thrower, something called a dark matter cube. The variety of weapons started to build up, and it kind of caught me off guard a little. Also, for your bow, which is your primary weapon, you get different types of arrows that you can use. You can get a standard, an explosive, a poison arrow. I appreciate that type of variety. Sniping with the bow is kind of my favorite thing to do in this game. You can blow off limbs, maybe pop off a head. A well-placed shot can be a one-shot kill, and that's always fun to watch. The pistol can also actually use a scope, and it has this really cool animation where you switch from a pistol to like a long-distance weapon. I think it's kind of clever. It works. The game does fall prey to some of the mechanics you would expect from that era. Things you don't see today. Like items being available for you to pick up just floating in the air, waiting for you. It looks a little strange. Or when you kill enemies, you can't pick up their weapons. Also, in a few seconds, their bodies will disintegrate into the scenery. I think it's visually weird, but it certainly wasn't unusual for the time. The maps are decent enough, overall I think. They're relatively linear and the terrain is kind of flat and blocky, but that's what I expect from games from this time frame. Talking lots of wilderness terrain, mountains, winding paths, trees, stuff like that. But they also manage to include bases and caves, and they sort of up the variety this way. It works, really does. There are also a lot of spots where they leave things for you to find, which maybe is a little weird, but it's important that you have items to pick up, I guess. Sometimes they leave them out on ledges, things they want you to jump to try to retrieve. Unfortunately, this is difficult for me because I can't seem to get the jumping mechanic down very well. And they also like to place those items on the edge of these sort of cliffs, so you kind of got to be careful to not accidentally walk off to your doom. I also find that climbing a ladder in this game is a little awkward. It's just not smooth. I sort of have trouble getting around that way. At least getting down them. That's kind of a chore. But it is fun enough. I mean, I can't say I'm riveted compared to other first-person shooters, but it is enjoyable enough, and the variety of weapons and the way the maps have been progressing are pretty good. So it's not bad, especially for the price I paid. Well, that's all I have today for Turok Evolution for PlayStation 2. If this is your type of video, please feel free to like and subscribe to the channel and all that good stuff, and thanks for stopping by to take a look. Hope to catch you on another video.